What's up, family? It's been a long time since I've been here, and I'm glad to be back. I know there are some severe consequences on YouTube and on Facebook when we go missing, but I needed to take some time off from YouTube and Facebook to get a little bit missing because YouTube and Facebook are crazy nowadays. As you guys know, it is Friday, and therefore it means that it is Mental Health Friday. Today, we're going to be talking about the jab. We're going to be talking about the jab. I want to first take this opportunity to get my housekeeping out the way. Of course, everybody who's on YouTube and Facebook, I ask that you share the video. Don't worry, I'm going to keep it PG 13 today. It might be a little rated R, but for the most part, it's going to be PG-13. I'm going to need you guys to share the video, whether you are on YouTube or Facebook. As always, my community members who are actual members to the channel, you will always get your shout outs like AC. I see she's in the room. I see Here for Truth is in the room. I will definitely pay close attention to you guys always. If I miss a little bit, charge it to my head and not my heart. I do not take that personally. To all my family on Facebook, you guys are a little special to me. And I don't mean that in a bad way, like the short yellow bus way. I don't. But you guys are a little bit special to me. I started on Facebook and I haven't been there for a while, but I'm going to need you guys to share the video with one another. Somebody asked me, are we talking about the vaccines? We're talking about the jab. We're going to talk about the jab. Let me tell you why I started to talk about the jab, because as you guys know, I had COVID back in January and I now suffer from parosmia. And if you guys don't know what parosmia is when you lose your smell and your taste, and when it comes back, it's not wired correctly to your brain. So everything, absolutely everything I taste or smell either smells and tastes like burnt coffee or some strong chemical smell that I call it the bin. That's what I call it. So when my kids say, how is this, Mom? I'm like, it tastes like the bin. They know, don't give it to me because I'm not going to be able to eat it. It tastes like the bin. Give me the burnt coffee every day. I won't take the bin. Sounds like it's disgusting. So that can happen for 6 months. For some people, it can last up to 2 years. And so I started to do my research around it and see the side effects. But then I said, you know something? Let me see the side effects when it comes to the jab. And so I started to do more research with the jab. As you know, you guys do, y'all like to read stuff or at least listen to videos. I like to read stuff about the jab. Somebody said it's not about the jab. Oh, no, it's about the jab. This video is about the jab. Steph Vaughn, whatever your last name is, no disrespect. This video is about the jab. So I know that was my side effect. That was my side effect. Okay, I know other people who had COVID may have not had so lucky of a side effect, but that was mine. My asthma was a side effect, but I pulled through 3 days strong. I came through on top, pulled through. My headache and my severe sore throat was a side effect, but I pulled through. I think the most annoying thing that I've experienced is parosmia, because I cannot taste or smell how I used to. And I had no smell or taste up until about 60 days ago. 2 months ago, I got it back, but it is all like chemical or like burnt coffee. That's all it is. Everything. I know I smell good, but to me, I smell like burnt coffee. Somebody's saying no sound. John Lilly, are you the only one that has no sound? Anybody else? Do you guys have a sound? Do you guys have a sound? I mean, everybody else is talking to me. So I guess John Lilly, that's you. You don't have any sound. Maybe you got to turn up your volume. I don't know. But I also wanted to talk about the jab before I get into it, right? I wanted to talk about when I went to my in-laws' house this weekend. Now, my in-laws, my mother-in-law is 75 years old. My father-in-law is 88 years old. And they both have taken the jab. So part of me going to take my son to college, which no, my son did not get the jab to go to college. We have a religious exemption. As you guys know, I am not primarily. I mean, there's some things where my mother must have gave into, but for the most part, I'm not a vaccinated person, period. So I don't look at vaccines as bad or good. I just know my experience. So that's all I can talk about is my experience. But nonetheless, my son is in college now, and they did send the email. We're going to talk about this in a second. I'm just giving you guys the prefaces, right? I'm just setting out the preface so you can know what we're about to get into, because I'm about to turn it all the way up. But I know some of y'all going to be in your bag today, but that's okay. This is Mental Health Friday. Y'all can be crazy a little bit. Y'all can be crazy today. It's okay. So we got the email. I ain't going to show you the school name. But here's his exemption, right? That's his exemption. We got the email, and the email stated that he had to get the jab. And, you know, obviously, I've been doing my research for a very long time. And a lot of males, as a result of the jab, we're going to talk about this, and I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not making this stuff up. A lot of males have had some effects, and women too. Women mostly with the blood clotting. With women, I mean, with the men, is how you pronounce it? Mitochondria. Is with the heart. It has to do with the heart. They've been having a lot of effects with that in young men, and so I exercised my religious right, and I said, "No, you're not getting the jab." So we filled it out. We waited to see what they was going to say. Because if they said no, then we was going to have to come up with another solution, because you wasn't getting my money and tell me what I can do with my kid. It wasn't going to happen. And my tuition money is a considerable amount, so it just wasn't going to happen. But yes, thank you, Ann C, for that. Thank you. That is the name of it. Y'all can check out Ann, what she's saying, myocarditis, right? Whatever. My daughter has tachycardia with her heart. She's had it for a very long time. And I even said to her, I don't think you should get the vaccine. She's in the medical field. And I said, you already have tachycardia. And your heart rate, out of no reason, will go up to over 200 beats per minute for no reason until it can calm itself down. And I said, we already know you have that. We also know in some patients, these side effects fuck with your heart. So why would I want to put you in a situation when you already got tachycardia? Why would I want to put you in a situation to increase that risk? See, y'all already know they're already messing with my channel. This is why I stopped going live. Because they're ridiculous. They're ridiculous. So listen, if they cut me off, I want y'all to stay on, family. I want you to stay on if they cut me off, because I'm going to come back on. Yes, somebody said 200 beats per minute. Yes, King David. My daughter has tachycardia, and it's no joke. She could be sitting down just like this, doing nothing, and all of a sudden her heart takes off. And she's got to get it together for no reason at all. So why would I want to put my daughter in that situation to increase that? And I know my children, although she's 23, my son is 17, I know my children are not going to really do their research. So I make sure I do the research for them and give them the research journals and articles, right? I make sure I do that on purpose. And I tell them what's happening, so that if they made their own decision to become or to get the jab, we got to watch what we say, because they're going to ghost me on this channel. If they made the decision to get the jab, at least they know what's going on. So let me go back to the story. So I went to my in-laws, and my in-laws, before we came up, said, I know you don't want your children to be vaccinated, and that's cool, but I need to make sure you guys are negative. And I said, no problem. She said, because you guys just came from Florida, and we did, and you guys were at Universal Studios, and I could just imagine there was thousands of people there, in which there was. And she was like, and they have the Delta variant. Oh, Lord, the Delta variant is out in Florida, which it is, allegedly. And I don't want to get anything. And she has a right to it. She has a right to that. I'm not offended by what she said at all. I'm not offended. So she said, listen, I just need to know that you're negative. So I said, no problem. I see your comment, Mary Jordan. Give me a second. I'm gonna go back to it. I'm gonna talk about your charting, your comment in a second. So we went, we got our tests, and of course, everybody in my house had COVID, so we all have antibodies. Of course, I'm not gonna say of course. I'm just gonna say for us, because I don't want to take away from anybody who has had, the V more than once. I don't know too many people who have had the V more than once, but I don't want to take away from somebody else's experience who may have had the V more than once. So I know that my household, we all, every last one of them, from the baby all the way up, have had the V. And we still have antibodies because we get our antibodies test every now and then. And so we went and we did her the honor. So as I'm sitting in her living room, y'all go ahead and share the video. Share the video, because we got to really have this conversation. Don't worry, it's about to pick up. Share the video. As we're sitting in her living room, I should have said the family room, because she also have a great room. She's just one of those grandmas. Yeah, I love my mother-in-law. She's just too fancy. But as we're sitting in her living room, I said, let me ask you something. With everything that's going on in the world and all these new reports of people who have gotten the jab, who have passed away from the V, are you feeling as secure? And so she goes off. Now, don't mind me, y'all, when I role play, because I really like to role play. I want y'all to really see the effect. So she was like, oh, God, no. Oh, God, no. That's how she responds. My mother-in-law. Not my mama, but my mother-in-law. Oh, God, no. You know, Shonna, I used to be secure and safe with it. And then all these reports started coming out with just the contrary of what we've been told. And so, we're older and I don't feel as secure anymore. So, like my girlfriend, I haven't seen her in a while because she's an anti-jabber. And I said, if you're not going to get it, you can't come around me. And I said, I get that. And she goes, and I just don't know why she doesn't get it. Talking about the jab. And so I said to my mother-in-law, well, don't you think she has a right to not get the jab? I mean, I haven't gotten a jab and I'm around you and I've tested negative, but don't you think she has a right to say that? She goes, well, I do, but I just would feel safer for her if she gets it because she's older like me, and I can't imagine what will happen if she gets the V. I just don't know what would happen, and I don't know why she's taking this chance. And so I had to say it like that. I mean, seriously, family, I really have to say it this way because that's how it sounded to me. Maybe she didn't say it exactly like that, but that's how it sounded to me. So I said, okay, I just want to back up a little bit. So give me a second. I said, Mom, you just said that you don't feel as secure with it anymore. Are you talking about because other people won't do it? Or are you talking about the efficacy of it? And she's like, well, the efficacy of it, I'm not sure if it's as effective as they're saying it is. I'm not sure because I do know people who have ended up in the hospital and they're fully vaccinated. And I said, okay, so maybe your friend is not that crazy. I'm just saying, maybe. She was like, well, yeah, but we really don't know, right? We really don't know. And although I'm not 100% sure, I do feel better than when I didn't have it. And I said, okay, I understand that. And I left her alone. I left her alone because she's entitled to her opinion. And I left her alone because, like I said in previous videos, I need you guys, not me, right? And I'm not going to call you guys sheeple. I'm not going to say sheeple. I'm going to be respectful. But I need you all who are willing to do it. I need you to do it because I want to know. Because I want to know because that is science. And I'm not against science, obviously. I'm not against science. I'm not one of those people against science. I just want you all to do it so I can know. Sounds kind of selfish when I say it. When I'm thinking about myself saying it, it sounds kind of selfish, But isn't that science? Like, I want you guys to do it so I can know. And since everyone that has decided to get the jab has agreed to participate in the experiment, eventually we're going to find out. So we need to be able to have the findings. We need to be able to hear these cases. So, like, for example, we have Mary saying in here, she says, Dr. Shonna, I had blood clots for the last 37 days straight because of shedding, and I am not going to get the jab. How did you get blood clots? Because of shedding of what? Like, can you tell me a little bit more? So here's what I'm saying to you. After I had this conversation with my mother-in-law, it made me go a lot deeper with the jab. It made me research the origin of how the messenger RNA became a hot topic. Now, those of you guys who may or may not know, I know a lot of people in this audience know, but this video is going to be recorded, right? And so they're going to not know or know, and I can assume that everybody's on the same page, but I am going to say this, that a lot of you all may not know about the messenger RNA, which is considered the mRNA, which is what this jab is made of, right? It's the mRNA, which has to do with your DNA. And so what it does is the RNA is the part that develops proteins in order for your body to develop antibodies when a foreign object like a virus enters into the body. So the RNA will start to develop proteins to be able to attack, that's your antibodies, the foreign object that exists like the virus, and to be able to eradicate the body of it. That's the RNA. The messenger, the mRNA, is the design of this jab. And so what that is, what makes it different than the traditional vaccines that are out there for chickenpox, rubella, measles, yada, yada, yada. You know how the list goes down. The difference is back in the day, how vaccines were developed. They were developed using a weaker form of the virus itself in order for your body to develop immunity, in order for your body to fight off the infection, right? You guys are with me so far, right? Because I know some people saying they don't know. Shout out to John L for that. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Somebody else made a donation. I thank you for that as well. John L says, before the death of my child's mom last week from COVID and pneumonia, I was against it, but I'm getting the jab now. Shout out to you, John. Get the jabs, and you just make sure you keep in contact with me so that you know, I can know how you're doing, see how effective it is. So anyway, so what happens with the RNA? And you know, I like the way John does that, because that's what everyone does, right? They go, after the death of this person, I'm going to do it. And everyone gets scared, and everyone says, yeah, because the people died, and I'm going to do it too. And that's what happens, and that's cool. People are going to die, people. And I'm not trying to be funny. The death is something you cannot escape. People are going to die. I could die. I did it. I wasn't part of the 3%. I was part of the 97%. So thank you, Lord. I was part of the majority in this case. I wasn't the black sheep in this case. So I'm happy about that. But nonetheless, the RNA, the messenger RNA with this jab, is they don't actually have to have a portion of the virus in order to get it, right? They just need the coding, the DNA molecular coding, to replicate it in that little substance that's in that little jar, and then they inject it to your body, and it follows the coding, and then it replicates the proteins that are needed to develop antibodies to fight off the infection. That is how, in theory, it's supposed to work. Now, let me tell you why I say in theory. I went back to the history of the mRNA, and I started with Dr. Robert Malone. So I'm going to give y'all some names. Y'all can write it down, right? Write down the names, and y'all can research it yourself. Don't take my word for it. You know, every time I hear somebody one of these videos that go viral, I listen to what they're saying. I don't have any judgments. I don't get upset. I don't get in my feelings or my emotions, because everyone can have their opinion. I don't get like that. This is my personality. I know some of you guys are like emotional beings, and that's okay. God bless you all. But I just listen and I jot it down and I go to doing research. So Robert Malone, who is now the media is making him out to be like a lunatic. So if you don't agree with anybody, and your viewpoint is different than the majority, you're the crazy person. You're the lunatic. And, you know, I don't know how crazy he is, but most scientists have to be a little crazy, right? But I don't know how crazy he is in terms of what he's talking about. I really don't know. But Dr. Malone is the person back in the 80s. He started when he was roughly 28 years old. You guys can fact check that. I'm not too sure. But he started when he was about 28 years old with the whole ideology of mRNA. And no one really paid attention to him at that time. He lost his tenure at the university. He wasn't able to hold his spot, whatever the case is. And sort of his idea about being able to replicate the proteins in the body in order to fight off infections and all this other stuff, his idea wasn't taken as seriously and it was swept aside. Another person, her name is Caitlin, something with a K. Caitlin, give me a second, family. I'm going to pull up her name because I want y'all to know the name. Give me a second. What is her name? One of y'all might know already. If you know it, put it in the chat. But I know it starts with a K. Karijic or something like that. She's Hungarian, if I'm not mistaken. I know she is. Let me Google her name. But Caitlin is her first name. I do know that. She took the mRNA that Dr. Malone has started and she ran with it. And she was working with this for a long time. However, she wasn't able to get the funding that she needed because her results kept failing over and over and over again. The failure of this thing was in reference to it wasn't able to sustain itself in terms of what it was said to do. It wasn't working. What they were finding was this mRNA, when they injected it into mice, what they were finding was the body would either fight against it and attack it, right? So it was no longer effective, or it was developing other disease. So I hope you guys heard me. I hope you guys don't need me to say it again. I'm still looking for her name, so I'm a little sidetracked. Give me a second. Oh God, it'll come into me. I have such bad memory. You know, somebody told me that was a side effect of COVID as well, right? Foggy memory. That's what somebody told me. I don't know if that's true or not, but God damn it, I can't remember anything to save my damn life. But I know Caitlin, Catalin Carrico is her name. So what Catalin did, let me go back to you guys. What Catalin did was she went and she was testing, she took Dr. Malone's work and she started to enhance it. And that's what scientists do, right? They build upon, including us scholars, right? That's what we do as well. We get somebody's original theory and we just build upon it, we enhance it. And then after you're like no longer popping, you're gone, somebody's going to pick up your work and somebody's going to perfect it or debunk it. And then it's going to be no good anymore. And someone's going to throw it aside, or it's going to turn to something bigger. That's what happened with mRNA or mRNA. So Catalin comes along and she picks up Dr. Malone's work and she gets to work and she's testing it in mice. And what she's noticing is the mice immune system is starting to see it as a foreign object and it's starting to attack it. It's not actually replicating the protein. It's starting to attack it. And when that doesn't work, right, when that didn't happen that way, what was happening, the mice were starting to develop even worse health issues than what it should have been developing. So nobody would pick up this work. Nobody would fund this work. She was not able to get a grant. And eventually the research university that she was working for, eventually what they did was demoted her. Most people at the time of the demotion would quit, because when you are working on something and you say you got the next hot thing and you don't make it come into fruition, usually your name gets damaged. Usually it's more like, you're playing games, go back to the classroom, get out of here. Usually that's how it works. But in this situation, she didn't leave. She contacted another doctor, last name Wiseman. Y'all can look it up if you don't believe me. And she started working with Dr. Wiseman. They started to collaborate on the mRNA, because she said it keeps failing. And this is back, I think hers was back in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken, going into the 2000s. She was saying it keeps failing. So Dr. Wiseman, Weissman, comes on board, and Dr. Wiseman likened it to like swapping out a tire. And what he basically said, and what Catalin basically said, was she had an imbalance. Just imagine when your tires are not properly balanced, right? It throws off your car. It throws off your car. The thread or the treading, whatever it's called on your tire, gets worn down, maybe on the inside or the outside, wherever your car is off balance. And so what he did was swipe the tire out and replace it, right? Because it was off. Her formula was off. So he came up with an idea and said, this might work, whatever this is. I don't know, and didn't discuss it. But they swiped out the tire for something else in order to get it back on track. And so with that being said, that work was now passed on. So another scientist, his name is Dr. Rossi, R-O-S-S-I. I want you guys to look up these names, right? I want you guys to look up these names. These stuff is so important. Dr. Rossi picks up on Dr. What did I say her name was? Catalin's last name. What did I say it was? Carrico. Dr. Rossi picks up on Dr. Carrico's work. And he says, well, maybe it's not going to be good for this, whatever this is, but it works for stem cells. But the research that he would be required to do was and is considered unethical, because he wanted to do it with the stem cells. And he needed some discarded embryos. So people that had abortions, miscarriages, yada, 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 stillbirths, whatever the case is, he needed to have discarded embryos in order to use it to see if the stem cells would be developed and work. So one day he was doing the formula, he tweaked it a little bit, and he saw that the stem cells in the microscope were starting to grow. He got excited. He goes on to Dr., I think his name was Langer, Langer, something like that, but you can look it up. By the time all these doctors started happening, I got less interested in their names, right? So he runs on to Dr. Langer. Now, Dr. Langer, he's seeing what this stem cell stuff is doing, and he automatically is Rossi, Chelsea, Dr. Rossi, R-O-S-S-I, Dr. Rossi. He goes over to Dr. Langer. And his mind automatically goes on money. Money. Telling you this for a reason. You can look it up. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. But so many people will say, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It does matter. Just follow the bouncing ball. It does matter. Now, I want y'all to know that even though it does matter, I'm not telling those who are getting the jab not to get the jab. I want to make that very clear. I am happy that a lot of you guys are jabbed. And let me tell you why I'm happy. I know some of y'all think I'm being sarcastic because of my personality. Especially people that really know me know my personality. But really, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm happy because of people like you. I don't get chickenpox or measles or the other things that I'm not vaccinated against. So I need you guys to all get your different jabs so I can stay safe. I'm just trying to say. So y'all think I'm being sarcastic, but I'm really not. I love you all that love to jab things into your body. I love you all. Shout out to y'all. Y'all will be my ancestors one day. I love it. So nonetheless, Dr. Langer, his mind goes on money. And he basically said that Dr. Rossi is, in but so many words, limiting himself. And there's so much more that can be done than what Dr. Rossi mind was on, because Dr. Rossi was only on stem cells, because he found out how the mRNA can replicate stem cells. So he took it to Moderna, and they partner with Moderna to rapidly build this up. Now, this is 2015, way before COVID. But even with that being said, it could not get funding or approval because the efficacy wasn't being sustained long enough. And it's sort of like the same ish was happening again. I remember I told you I was going to be PG-13. I was going to say shit. But I decided to not say shit, and I'm going to say ish. Right? Because I want to be clean in my language. So the same ish started to happen again. So it didn't get funding. It did not get funding. And then lo and behold, something happens in Wuhan, China. Where people were developing symptoms that the doctors in Wuhan, China was calling pneumonia at that time. At that time. And so everyone is watching. Everyone is watching, especially Dr. Langer and Dr. Rossi, right? Especially Dr. Langer, because Dr. Langer's ass was thinking about money. Oh, his behind. I'm sorry, I'm going to get clean. I'm going to keep it clean. Dr. Langer's behind was thinking about money. So he was watching. Everybody's watching the news. So they waited. And let me tell you why they were waiting. They were waiting because the mRNA, which is the messenger RNA, does not require a live virus. The only thing it requires is the DNA structure. Y'all do understand what I'm saying when I say that, right? I don't know, everybody's not a scientist, but we all have taken biology. Half of you are probably high taking it, so you don't remember it. But we all have taken biology if you've been through the public school system or the educational system at minimum, right? You've taken biology. And so the DNA is like that little staircase that twists, right? And it goes up. Those things have coding on it. It codes, and it's going to tell you what color your hair is, what color your eyes is, what color your skin is, how tall you're going to be, what kind of diseases you're going to have. All those things, how your heart is going to be, all this stuff. The DNA determines all of that, right? Our bodies are very unique, very awesome. And so they were sitting and watching as the scientists in Wuhan, China, was trying to figure it out. And then the scientists in Wuhan, China, because this is what scientists do and other scholars, right? I need to get my publishing on. I need to stop slacking and finish this damn thing to submit it. But that's what we do, right? We publish it because everybody wants their shit to be published. Gives you notoriety. China publishes in their journal, and they put the DNA structure, the RNA, right? They got it up there. They got it up there. And the people here, Dr. Greedy, was watching. And the minute the structure was posted, y'all ain't gotta believe me. Y'all ain't gotta believe me, go look it up. The minute the structure was posted, Dr. Langer and his crew, including Dr. Rossi and some others with Moderna, went with it. They pulled it, Pfizer pulled it, because now it's public, and everyone knew that the mRNA did not need a live virus. It only needed the coding. The coding was put, remember those little letters that attach in the DNA, right? Remember that? The coding was put, they received it, and they got to programming. Mad scientists. 2015 is when they got rejected. 2015 is when they noticed we can do something with this, and stuff was getting rejected, and boom, 2020 hit around 5 years later. Coding puts in, oh, it's going to be a pandemic, because they were already talking about pandemic. They was already talking about this is going to be a pandemic, but goddamn, it's going to be everywhere. So they was like, woo, money. This is our opportunity to shine. This is our opportunity to see if it works, because it is going to be desperate people out here. And desperate times calls for desperate measures. Not desperate results, but desperate measures. People would do almost anything when they're desperate. So they grabbed that coding, they put it in, they presented it to whomever, right? And then it was presented to our previous president. And somebody said everyone's going to be wealthy. They're already wealthy. You got to look at these numbers that they have been paid. They are not going to be. They're already wealthy. Everybody but Dr. Malone. And I feel so sorry for Dr. Malone, because they all make him out to be so crazy, but they're not giving him the due respect. Okay, granted, sometimes he goes off the deep edge. Okay, I get it. But give that man some damn respect. He's the one that put mRNA on the map. Give that dude some goddamn respect. But you see how greedy people are. I ain't gonna call him no name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Don't want this channel banned. We see how some greedy people are. Money will have some people jumping out of buildings. I'm just saying. Money will have some people do all types of things to get it. So they started to make Dr. Malone be out crazy. But if it wasn't for him, mRNA wouldn't even be on the map, to be honest with you. But let's go on. I digress. Let's go on. So they got the coding. They take it to the previous president. I want y'all to look this up. And he came up with Operation Warp Speed. Operation Warp Speed. Even though the FDA did not approve this, even though the FDA knocked it down so many times because it could not prove a sustainable efficacy level that they needed to see, or efficacy rate, it couldn't sustain it. There was no solid evidence that it was doing what they said it would do, and especially not for long periods of time. But Operation Warp Speed, I know y'all don't believe me. I know half of your asses ain't going to write this stuff down no how, but I'm going to talk about it anyway, and I'm going to get on out of here. I'm going to do it anyway. Operation Warp Speed, basically, from the previous president's approval, basically said we're going to bypass all the red tape that is required in order for a jab to get on the market, right? Here's the real Dana. Breaking news just now. Full FDA approval for Pfizer could come. Could. Look at the operative word next week. See, I love the operative word. Could come. Thank you for that notification, the real Dana. I appreciate that. Thank you for helping everyone to know that it could come next week, or next month, or next year, or next never. Depends on how well they hide what's really happening, but that's not the conversation. Somebody said, I'm Googling as you speak. Go ahead. Soul Man, Google away. Operation Warp Speed. Operation Warp Speed. Google ahead. Because I know some people don't like to read. But that's a whole nother conversation that we ain't going to have tonight. Somebody said, OMG, OMG. Reese, why are you saying OMG? What's going on, Reese? Right? What's going on? Reese? Why you say OMG? Right? So Operation Warp Speed, what it did was it allowed them to bypass all the red tape in order to get it out here. And because it was now a pandemic and everyone was desperate, they put it out there, right? They put it out there. So what's important here in this history of the jab, this jab we're talking about, right? What's important here? Somebody said Reese took the jab. They're joking, Reese. Don't get too offended by my audience, Reese. We like to joke a lot, but we're serious. Just like to joke a lot. But nonetheless, What happened? What happened? Somebody just said everything you're saying is on point. Thank you, Dana. I'm just saying, y'all can look it up. I ain't got to make this stuff up whatsoever. I mean, that's what credible sources are about, right? Whatever credible sources talk about, you should be able to look it up. It shouldn't be an opinion or a feeling. You should be able to look it up. So what happened is, once that happened, they pushed for the FDA to give emergency authorized use. And how that came is because they had volunteers show up and they said, well, I will volunteer to get the jab to see what happened. And it took them a while, especially Moderna, if I'm not mistaken, or Pfizer, either or, but it took them a while to post their results. Now, here's the problem I have with that. Results that is going to go on the negative side are most likely not going to be shared in this situation. Let me tell you why. I'm going to go back, because you guys can look this up as well. When the pandemic started and Dr. Rossi and Langer started marketing the sucker like they got the answer. They got the answer to the cure found in the mRNA. They were excited about it. They started to raise money. So did Pfizer. These companies had went public during that time, raised a whole bunch of money, millions and millions and millions of dollars, and their companies were now valued in the billions. There is money on the line. So I'm skeptical about those results if they are published accurately. I'm skeptical because they don't want to publish the same failing results that have been happening since the 90s when this thing was first started. In the 2000s, it was failing. Remember, Dr. Catalin, however you pronounce her name, Dr. Catalin Carrico was demoted because she couldn't prove its efficacy, right? When they went with Dr. Rossi's idea of how to develop stem cells, remember, he did it for stem cells, not how it's being used right now. Dr. Langer is the one who said, oh, maybe we can do it like this and we can use it for this. But they had not tested it. They have not tested it at that time. So when they got their whatever few thousand, 76,000 people or something like that, which is nothing compared to all the millions and billions of people around the world, that's 76,000 is a drop in a bucket. When they had them, they say, okay, these are the people we're going to give it to and we're going to watch it. I don't think that's an accurate assessment. Let me tell you guys why. I'm going to tell you why. Are y'all following me? Are y'all following me so far? Because I'm going to tell you why. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. And if anything's unclear, I got to be able to go back and explain it. Because I want you to follow the story. This is not my opinion. This is not my opinion. You can Google everything I said and look it up. I'm just giving y'all the research. Okay, so people are following me. Let me tell you why I feel that's not solid enough. And I know when money is involved, when money's at stake, people lie. We know that. We know that. We know people will lie when money is at stake. We know there has been catastrophes where people knew ahead of time that they should not have let planes go. They should have not done certain things. But because money was on the line, they said, no big deal. We'll probably get past it. We'll probably make it over because it happened before and we were okay, right? And when great catastrophes happen, nobody wants to take the blame. Everybody want to throw rocks in and hide their hands. Nobody wants to take the blame. When you have Operation Warp Speed pushing this thing through and there's money on the line, people are going to hide full results. You have us, some of us posting stuff from the CDC. I'm not lying to you people. Y'all know how I am. Those have been following me for a very long time. You know, 99% of the stuff I post, you can look up and see that it's the truth. But what happens is when I post things from the CDC and I'm showing you guys how to use VAERS, which is the vaccine adverse reaction system, right? When I tell you guys how to use VAERS, I gave you guys the webinar. There was still people that came on my feed and said, Dr. Shonna, you are a disgrace. You are disgusting. You are spreading false information, and VAERS is found on the CDC website. And then there was people that says, is this even real? Like, the people are so, see, I was about to curse. I said it was going to be PG-13. I want y'all to share the video. Share the video. Share the video. I'm trying to free myself of foul language for today. Okay, not for today. For the next 10 minutes or 20 minutes. I'm trying to free myself from the foul language. I like having a dirty mouth. Sexy. That's what I think. But anyway, people had came on my feed when I told people about the CDC VAERS and how they have to report the adverse reactions. They have to. And these are people who have experienced it, real American people and people around the world, not just Americans, but I'm just talking about us here in this country. These are people who have real issues, real adverse effects from this that is happening, and they are reporting it. And when I put that video on there, they shadowed my video and they put a covering over it that says misinformation. So all you foolish people that don't do your own research, you just went out and said that Dr. Shonna is a disgrace and she gets misinformation. And I have never given you guys misinformation about this. I have always posted, even a year ago, I posted about Operation Warp Speed. And that post only had but so many likes because y'all don't like to read. Y'all don't like to read. Me, among other people, have given you guys information over and over and over and over again. I have even given you guys the informed consent that many of you guys who have taken the jab have not read. I've even given you guys those informed consents. I even given you guys evidence about the blood clotting that the CDC is concerned about. I even given you guys the evidence about the reaction in the heart that the CDC is concerned. I've already given you guys that. I just gave you guys the history of the messenger RNA, mRNA. I just gave you guys the history of the failed experiments over and over again because it didn't last long enough for it to have an efficacy rate that was sustainable over time. And that's why now they have you guys taking boosters. And guess what? They're scaring you guys with the Lambda and the Delta variant for you to take even more boosters. And you guys are foolish enough to believe it. And the reason why that is happening is because they already know from the research of mRNA that has been out there for a long time that in the mice, it was not sustainable. It was not sustainable in the mice. So at one time, one of the companies, either Pfizer or Moderna, you guys got to fact check it and look it up for yourself. I'm telling you the truth. Either Pfizer or Moderna initially had, I think they had 3 shots given 4 weeks apart. And one of them, the other one had 2 shots given 4 weeks apart. And I might be messing up the weeks, whatever, right? And then all of a sudden to be competitive, because it's all about money. It's all about money. To be competitive, the one that said 3 shots went down to 2 shots. And now all of a sudden they're both saying boosters. But you guys know that it wasn't sustainable in the rats. You guys know in the rats, eventually, the natural immunity in the rats attacked it and overtook it. You guys know that. But when money's on the line, and you have so many investors that want a return on their investment, when companies go public, it's all about making your investors happy. When companies go public, it's about making sure your investors are happy. And what makes your investors happy is that they get a return on their investment. I want to reiterate again. I'm not telling you guys not to get the jab. I'm not telling you guys that, family. Do what you want to do. I've never came on here to tell you guys not to get the jab. I just came on here to give you guys information. That's all I've ever done. I gave you guys information. You do what you want to do with it. I respect your decision. Your decision doesn't bother me. What you eat doesn't make me poop. I was going to curse again. I'm doing better, right? How am I doing my cursing? Am I doing good on my cursing? Right? Am I? I don't care what you guys do. I just want you guys to understand history is important. You got to trace things back. It's got to make sense. It's got to make sense. I don't know why all of a sudden we're all so like, oh, we just trust Big Pharma now. I don't know why we're so like, I know why we like that. I'm saying I don't know why. Who am I fooling? I know why we like that. Because people like to just be led, right? People like to be led. We don't have enough lions among the people. We don't. Let me not use it, because if I use lions, then I have to say sheep, and I don't want to call you guys sheeple. We don't have enough warriors among the people. Here's what I mean, and I'm getting out of here. Somebody said, what would you do if you had to get the job that made... So I for profit, the reason why I even stopped reading your statement, because the one funny word to me is job. That's the funny thing to me. I for profit. You've been with me for a long time. You know that JOB word ain't in my vocabulary. Now, would I make my staff get the jab? No, I won't make my staff get the jab. But here's why I say we don't have enough warriors. And I'm not going to call y'all sheeple. I'm not. And I'm not going to say lions. I'm going to eradicate that out of my language. So Medicaid and Medicare recipients and organizations, facilities, institutions that get money from Medicaid and Medicare are requiring those employees to get the jab, because the federal government is what Medicaid and Medicare falls under. And when you depend on the federal government, they get to tell you what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. So those people have to get the jab. People who work in public hospitals and or hospitals that receive funding from the federal government are being told that their staff has to get the jab. People who are in public facilities and public institutions and public buildings and sources that receive dollars from the federal government, are placed in positions where they have to get the jab. Companies that receive funding from the federal government are placing their employees, job, J-O-B, in positions where they have to get the jab. Let me tell you why that's possible. I'm going to tell you why that's possible. That is possible because there aren't enough warriors, W-A-R-R-I-O-R-S. There aren't enough warriors that would say, forget you. No, I'm not doing it. Because the same thing that I for profit said to me. But what would you do if you were in a position that was your job and telling you to get the jab? What would you do? I can't tell you what would you do. I can't tell you what to do. That's your business. But what if? I just want to toy with the idea for just a second. What if the people stood united? Let me rephrase that. Let me not say people, because we want to put some respect on people's name who are like this. What would happen if the warriors outnumbered? What's the opposite of the warriors? Oh, fuck it, people. My time is up. I'm not being polite anymore. Fuck it. What would happen if the lions stood up and they all band together and they said, fuck it, we're not getting it. You want to fire us, fire. What would happen if the warriors was like, nah, chill, we ain't doing this. And they all banded together and they didn't do it. What would happen? What would happen if 51%, let me just say 51%, majority, 51% of motherfucking warriors and lions in any government funded facility or any government facility said, fuck you, we're not doing it. What would happen? 51%. You want to fire 51% of the people? Let me see that happen. You're going to fire 51% of the people? I'm just asking you guys to think about it for a second. What would happen if 51% of the people said no? I want y'all to think about it. This is Mental Health Fridays, people. Anxiety falls under the diagnostic manual as a disorder. Phobia falls under the diagnostic manual as a disorder. Paranoia falls under the diagnostic manual as a disorder. This is Mental Health Fridays. I know you thought I was going to drop the ball with that shit, right? You know I ain't dropping the ball with that. What would happen? Let me put it to you in a different perspective. Because maybe lions and sheep are making people feel some kind of way. Because, Mental Health Fridays, language is everything. Some people get reactive because they can't control their emotions. And I love people that can't control their emotions. I love them. I love the emotionals. Don't you love the emotionals? What would happen if 51% of the police force said we're not going to do it? And then the chief, the mayor, and everybody else who has to follow that line had to fire them. 51% of the police force. Oh, that would be a sight to see. What would happen if 51% of the medical force said, I'm not going to do it, and the hospitals had to fire 51% of the staff? You think they would do it? What would happen if 51% of child protection services said they weren't going to do it? If 51% of child protection services said, fuck you, I'm not going to do it, fire me. What would happen? I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. What would happen? I'm just excited about the conversation. I want you guys to think about it. What would happen? What would happen? What would happen if 51% of teachers said they weren't going to do it? What would happen? What would happen? What would happen if 51% of transit workers said they weren't going to do it? See, I'm laughing not because it's funny. I'm laughing because there's a difference between lions and sheep. There's a difference between lions and sheep. That's why I'm laughing. Yeah, Shah, what would happen if 51% of the firefighters said they weren't going to do it? What would happen if 51% of Homeland Security said they weren't going to do it? What would happen if 51% of pilots said they were not going to do it? Airline employees. Mike Lange said, too late, they already did. Not everyone did, because if we had most of the people vaccinated, you go ahead and keep believing those numbers if you want them to. If we had most of the people vaccinated, they won't be still having this whole big discussion about it, right? Because allegedly we'll have herd immunity, right? Right? Wasn't that the conversation, that there was a certain number that they had to reach to develop herd immunity? Wasn't that it? Maybe I'm mistaken. I could have sworn y'all president talked about that. And even I'm asking you guys about the 51% as it relates to the jab, but that's in a lot of things that's happening right now. The government is on some new world order, on some new age Gestapo. The government is like out of control right now. The government is absolutely out of fucking control right now. And everybody is eating that shit. And I don't even understand it. I don't even, like, you guys are just, here's my rights, take it, I'm okay. Oh, I don't have any rights. I gotta do it because they told me to. Like, you guys are fucking unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I'm not even talking about the situation with the pandemic. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about in general. These motherfuckers are forcing everything down your throat. I only promised y'all a certain amount of time I was going to cuss. I'm back on it now. I tried. But I'm just saying, there's a lot of stuff that's being forced down people's throat, and you guys are not fighting back. I'm not even understanding it. Silk, whoever Silk is. Look, see how, let me show you what emotion looks like. Here's these people. Here's the fucking emotional people. This is what the fuck I'm talking about. The emotionals. We like the emotionals. I wanted the vaccine. It's my right to get it. Calm the fuck down, Silk. Nobody said it wasn't. If you watched the video from the beginning, fucking Silky Slim, I said, get the shit. Get the shit so I don't have to. Didn't I say that, audience? Didn't I say that to Miss or Mr.? I hope it's not a Mr. with the name Silky, but you never know. Ooh, I might get in trouble for saying that. Ooh, Lord, the government might get my ass for saying that too. That's right, group hypnosis, right? They are out of control. And the people that don't think like that, they get so mad. It's my rights. Calm the fuck down, Silk. Your ass to sleep. Get the fuck off this channel and go to sleep. Silk is getting all right. That's right, Can Angels Fly. That's right. Get us to herd immunity. So we want people like you, Silk. I'm not anti-people like you. I am pro-people like you, Silk. I am pro-people like you. I said it from the very beginning, Silky person. Silky, I said, get it. I said, I want you guys to get it. So me and my children don't have to. Silky Slim. Woo, you guys are funny. Listen, I'm out of here. Right? I'm out of here. I am so out of here. Somebody said, what they said about Silky Slim? Silky Slim. What kind of name is Silky Slim? That just sounds suspect. Silky Slim, why are you even on this? You just sound suspect. Silky Slim. Ew, I don't know if that even sounds right. We definitely want you to get the vaccine. Your name is Silky Slim. We don't want to know what you got. Shit, Silky Slim sounds very so lazy. But anyway. Oh, God. I like teasing Silky Slim. This the name. It's only because the name Silky Slim. Maybe if their name was like Mr. Peter. Anyway, fam, listen, research everything I said. Let me say it again as I end out my broadcast. I want you guys to get the vaccine. I want you guys to get the vaccination, right? Somebody said, you talk too much logic. Stop it, right? I talk too much logic. That's what it is. Silky Sim is all emotional. Ooh, I don't want to read. I just want the vaccine. Give it to me. What's going to happen to my heart? I don't care. Give it to me. Oh, I might get a blood clot. I'll take my chances. Give it to me. It might lose its efficacy. Give it to me. Oh, it didn't do well in Rab Labs. Give it to me. I love the Rab Labs shit. Okay. So Dr. Shonna, I love you, but it's a no for me. Listen, I'm not telling you not to get it. I'm not telling you to get it. Somebody said, I ain't getting that shit. I'm just saying, I want y'all to get it. I'm gonna be like those other people that go ahead and get their money from the government to tell y'all to get it. So I can get paid and leave the sheeple to the lab. Oh God. Anyway, I'm out of here. I love you guys. Listen, share the video. I did well with some of my cursing. I'll be back on my bullshit. To all my warriors and my lions, y'all, rise up. Y'all stay strong. Don't be all scared. Ooh, your child is not going to college. I fold down my child's college name. But my child went to college. Silly ass people. He's there now, as a matter of fact. He's exempt. Booyah. Because we're not sheep. We're warriors. Y'all have a great day. If you haven't been following me on Instagram, I suggest you go to Instagram to follow me. It's all about relationships over on Instagram. To all my women in my Iris program, Iris is starting back up in September. I'm going to get the curriculum on the website so you guys can go ahead and get registered. I love every last one of y'all. Here, we don't all have to agree with each other, right? We don't have to agree with each other. No one really cares about your craziness over there. Silky Slim. We don't care. Get your vaccine. Right? We don't care. But I want you guys to know, seriously, I love all of you guys. I just say do your research. Everything that I gave you, you can research. All the doctors that I gave you, Dr. Robert Malone, you can research. Dr. Catalan Carrico, you can research. Dr. Wiseman, who worked with Catalan Carrico, you can research. Dr. Rossi, you can research. Dr. Langer, you can research. The public companies of Pfizer and Moderna, when they went public regarding Pfizer's shot and Moderna's shot, you can research. The money that they raised, you can research. You can research Operation Warp Speed. You can research that stuff. I'm not lying to you guys about anything. I'm not. Look at the clinical trials, and again, look at it in a skeptical manner, because they're not gonna publish their failed results. But look at the previous. I want you to look at the previous trials in 2015. Right? 2013, 2005, 2015. I want you to look at those things and see over and over again how they failed. Over and over again. And all of a sudden, come 2020, it's not failing. Fuck out of here. But it's somebody said talk about the exemption process. Talk about the exemption process. Well, it's really nothing to it. You just have to ask for your exemption. You read the instructions. Let me tell you, I'll read the instructions to you guys. This form is for your use in applying for a religious exemption to New York State public health law immunization requirements. Its purpose is to establish the religious basis for your request, since the state permits exemptions on the basis of a sincere religious belief. Philosophical, political, scientific, or sociological objections to immunizations do not justify an exemption under the Department of Health Regulations 10 NYCRR Section 66-1.3D, which requires the submission of a written and signed statement from the student and parent if under 18, stating that the student or parent objects to the administering of immunizations due to sincere and genuine religious beliefs that prohibit same, in which case the director, student health center, or person in charge may require supporting documents under each element below. Please write your statement. This statement must address the following. So the first question was explaining your words why you are requesting this religious exemption. The second question is describe the religious principles that guide your objection to immunization. And the third question is indicate whether you are opposed to all immunizations, and if not, the religious basis that prohibits particular immunizations. You may attach this form, additional written pages, or supporting materials if you so choose. Please sign in the space provided below in the presence of a notary public. And then it says, I hereby affirm the truthfulness, but I'm not an immunized person, and I stand on my religious beliefs. Stand on them. It is what it is. You can do it. You can do it, but what you don't know, you won't do. Have a great day, guys, people. I love you all.